Welcome everyone to the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity. It's day 17 of this series. It's the morning session for Friday, July 28th, 2017. This is a production of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, and I believe we have Mr. Keshe here available to start today's proceedings. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual, whenever you listen to these teachings. As you know, we are on a very fast moving situations in respect to the foundation's work. If you heard yesterday, we announced opening up a new factory and increasing the workforce by 400 in Ghana. And we have received a very favorable response by the press. There were some 60 members of press in the room. It's been accepted with open arm. We did not, as was very much feared by a lot of people, we might attack the minister or whatever. We only laid out our terms and conditions of the progress in Ghana and has been openly welcomed by the public. This is the way we make peace. We explain our position, who we are, and in that process, the nation has responded. We have received many confirmations and thanks for what we are doing here. And this way we have defused the whole situation, which was set up primarily by the false accusations which comes from Mr. Lorenz. His team has tried very hard and now it has come back differently. But it's been successful for us. It's extremely successful way of doing it. In a short term, our staff from the Keshe Foundation Ghana were present. They were proud they could stand up, that they represent a company. And the new development has been that, yes, can you take this please? Has been that now we are going into what we promised, most probably this morning we'll finalize it, the Keshe Foundation banking system in order. That from now on, we stand on the strength of our own, and as we explained yesterday, what we call, I explained to the management team meeting, this own system, which means the color of the blue, which all our equipments are built and shown, becomes the color of mobile phone, which will give freely to people around the world. When you carry this phone, it means I don't need to beg. I have respect. I can survive, and allows them automatically, without unconditional, without any background check. As long as we know they are there, who they are, we give these phones to them that they can buy food, they can buy clothing if they need, they can have a shelter if they need. We put a minimum $50 in Africa, in South America, and other places is the line of life. You got to understand that in Ghana, somebody who works whole month, their wages is around about 400, 500 cedis. $50 is about 254 to gain respect. This is what we set the Keshe unconditionally, but we don't start a begging system that there's to be carried this. No, we explain to people that they know when they move out of the poverty, we help them to do, they'll give the phone to somebody else. That's all it is. Life should have no question asked, it should be free. And at the same time, with the establishment of its banking system, we allow all the Keshe Foundation supporters who are doing these small cottage industries just to sell something to have life. We give you a bank account direct. The bank, Keshe Foundation Bank, becomes your partner, which means we give you the finance to start setting it up in the small places that you can put back in, that you can develop, and with it create more jobs and security for your family, for yourself. And in this way, we start changing the situation. As I said, it took time. It takes time to develop such systems. It's not easy. But thanks to all of you and the background help and support of all the Keshe Foundation supporters worldwide, we are reaching where we promised to be. It is important for us that we achieve this goal. This morning, I'm meeting with officials and government officials for further development of transfer of the Keshe Foundation manufacturing headquarters into Ghana, which means all our affairs, like, as I said, Microsoft headquarters are in the state, Keshe Foundation headquarters worldwide in operational management of the manufacturing will move to Ghana. This is important because this gives, if let's say we make $100,000 profit this year, we pay 25%, which is $25,000 into the Ghanaian government, into the expenditure of the nation, that they can come up. To me, we have taken too much out of Africa. It's time now collectively put back in and really change the condition of the continent. Nobody else cares because it's a cheap material, comes from Africa, and we get so many of them on the boat. Now we get the boat backwards. We put back in here out of the strength of the nation, out of the strength of the continent. So this morning is important. I have to leave very shortly, meeting with the bankers for transfer and the organization of the banking system. I'll come back during the day and I'll explain more. There's one point which is important. As we said, the security of our children are important, that we can safeguard. I have seen a petition set up against Mr. Lawrence to go worldwide. And somebody has put it on the supporters teams of the foundation on the facts about Dirk. Please go there and send this email to everyone. He explains how he does and how he works. And we know federal police have started taking action against him. They're looking into it. This letter has been laid out by people who have done it. It's comprehensive and explains. We have seen and we've been reported. It is important he lives in a block, in the tower block. There are children in there. We don't know who he hypnotizes on the staircases on the left. Please write, inform the tower owners that there is a pedophile living amongst, and this is the way he operates. It's important that people to know. The state agents and businesses around Antwerp, which he lives, they have to be informed. We have to close on this man because now the data we have is huge. It's your responsibility to inform everyone around him. We've been informed that he has typically, specifically chosen his apartment looking into a school with a lot of young girls. He sits there and watches them. So the school has to be informed that there's a pedophile watching over the children or the graduates of schools or university people. Don't forget, he hunts on anything. Sweet talker, grandpa looking, nobody ever considers. So it's important, all of you, whoever does, to inform the owners of the block that there is such a guy in the building. It's important that everybody knows we kept quiet, we've been shy away protecting our children. Now we stand up for our children. It's important to mass mail this right across Europe and his name to be registered on the police files. His walk, his way. We've been sent a document that he's posted something. How can I see from such a bird view, such a place? We never said. We said very clearly, you're close by. You pray on, and that's what it is. This is how you divert attention. Doesn't work, Mr. Lawrence, anymore. Please go to, we've seen them put it on the Dirk, facts about Dirk. There is a petition. Every agency, don't think somebody else might do it, I don't do it. You do it. We are responsible for every child across this planet. Abuse of children of Belgium are our children. Abuse of children from Ghana, which go to Belgium, to Antwerp in his hand, are our children. We become responsible as one nation. We are responsible for our nation. Please, even if you live in Antwerp, just put leaflets around his house that everybody knows this guy is, this pattern of behavior is his life. We have to understand, we have to show. Please sign a copy of his to his Facebook. Send a copy of this to the Facebook. He has to be shut down on the Facebook. On all the internets where he gathers children, has to be stopped. Apparently, a new link has been found in his name for children that when you click on it, was apparently by him saying sold to a porno magazine, internet porno magazine. This is a direct link we have. We have found his name as the owner of a website, which when you click on it is to do with children. It clicks to porno magazines. Give this to the police. Please, those people who are after him, put this link on that letter. Put this link on that website of Facts About Dirk. That when you click on a website which he has put as children, turns now into the porno magazines on the internet. So this is a clear indication. This gentleman is in what we said. Registration of the name of domain is in his name, nobody else. And then he has sold it to a fake organization with his. Children come, they get pulled into porno magazine. Please release that to people who run the Facts About Dirk on the internet. This is the direct indication that this man is in this job. We are not making an accusation. This is our responsibility. We update on a frequent basis of not just him, others like him. They fear us because they know we got to them. Those of you who care for our children, those of you who care for the society, this is part of the peace. We have to bring peace on this planet. It is our job to do these things. It's not that it's just done. You do all the work in the background. I do a lot of work in the background. We all collectively are changing the condition. Monday or Tuesday, we make another announcement. This is, you have to understand our position. Go to Dirk, Facts About Dirk, download the new link which shows his link to a porn magazine. It goes for children's. Is the tower he lives in, the children, and he sees them in the lift. We know he carries a lot of sexual tools with him because we have seen him doing it for years. We never understood why. So he's prepared at any time. You don't carry these things in the back of your car. So it means the guy is prowling anywhere. I'm prepared to give evidence on the oath that he is that pervert. He is that demented, and he managed to fool a nation to go against their grain. Now he's very much in open. We have to do this. It's our job to do it. It is our responsibility to stop these people, because now it's become just a news, a group of 7,000, a group of 72,000 pedophiles. But they never get the head. He is the head. He is the head. By the way, Mr. Lawrence, I know you're listening. We are still waiting for your daughter to confirm she used to live in the red light district. You don't need to see it. You knew where she is. And he's spending time, he confessed. I weed you out. We weed you out as a Keshe Foundation worldwide. People like you do not belong to society. It's important for all of us to understand this. It's our children. You remember when I said he pissed in front of my child? You understand. Now the information is gathering heavily. We petition against him because to him it's a normal habit, attracting young children. He has 2 young sons. He is, to him, sexuality is different. Doesn't matter what it is. These are sick people, but they tend and they have covered themselves this way. Please inform London Tower of the existence of this man. Inform all the people around there and the university or whatever it is across the road, which he sits and watches them. Again, that this guy is sitting there. He has to be moved. He has to move out of there, that the girls, young girls in university, seeing a grandpa, most probably not knowing, getting hypnotized, and God knows what happens to him, and then they come, they don't know where they are. We have to understand. We have to change. We are responsible. We accepted the responsibility of one nation. One nation means from the animal to children, to the adults. We are doing our best and we'll change the course. It's not Ghana. Keshe Foundation is based and rooted in Belgium. They made sure that he does everything that he can have access to the foundation and the children of the foundation. Now we have to cut the tail of this snake. It's very simple. Yesterday, when we did the presentation, on the background, you see it says one council, one planet, one race, one nation. This is the board we carried for a long time, from Italian conference, from Dubai, and this is where we stand, as one nation, as one race. As a human race, we should care for everything. When I come back, hopefully, if I get the time today, I start teaching you more about the plasma. And then hopefully I have more news for you regarding the Keshe Foundation banking system. I have to leave because there are people waiting. I have to attend the meeting. But understand one thing, Keshe Foundation has entered a new era, and that is what we said. By next week, we'll go into the process of one nation, and you will see how we have set up the process of one nation as a progressive development unit, as all of us, abiding to the nations we live in and abiding to the whole humanity at the same time. This is the secret. We are not setting up another group. We are setting up to unify all the nations, but at the same time accept the responsibility of totality. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Caroline, are you available there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
And clear, loud and clear too?
It seems pretty good.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this morning teaching for people who wishes is morning, bright and shine. I think we are in an exact perfect zone for morning cup of tea, afternoon cup of tea, or even cup of tea to go to bed. I hope you haven't missed your image of your mirror reflection to answer, to confirm, because I'm going to take it one step further. You know, when you watch and you have learned to say, you know, you're beautiful. Now we're going to start adding to your cup. You're going to start adding to your beautiful cup with confirmation like, I like my hair. My hair is beautiful. I like the features of my face. I like the color of my eyes. I like my lips, or I like my teeth. Whatever you notice for yourself, the first thing that comes to your mind, which you always liked about yourself. The beauty confirmation within yourself. Just to top up your bucket of joy. Because very slowly, and I know like, I think it's Sia, came forward and said, but we have always been told and we have always been taught not to talk about ourselves, never to acknowledge yourself, never to talk as proud of yourself, because it might make you to look like, I don't know, what kind of word can you use for this kind of, it's like you're doing something wrong to yourself, or you're going to offend somebody else with you confirming that you're beautiful. I would love to start, just 1 second. I would love to, for you, to start confirming, but not by yourself. Start taking your partner or your children and stand them next to the same height as you. You know that your faces are on equal measurement facing the mirror. And then start communicating that the child responds in what he sees, what is beautiful in himself. And then you have to explain to the child, or maybe the communication will start automatically. What do you see and confirm as a beauty in the mirror about yourself? I think you're gonna create a lot of joy. But at the same time, when there are missing points which you see the beauty, you will be able to confirm and bring that beauty forward. Even if it's your own mama, or your own father, or your brother, or your friend, say, we're going to do an exercise and see how this duality between competition of beauty starts. Because the whole beauty is to go in competition, which is the opposite of what you've been taught, to bring the beauty in yourself and the other forward. And if you do this on a regular basis and you involve your children and your partners and your friends, you will see exactly what you wanted to achieve. The smiles on the face, you know, and then they're going to start going, some which are shy, they're going to take a red color on the face, or they will blush. But you have to keep them steady for them to get this exercise as a normality, that you first fill your cup. You acknowledge your beauty before then going and out sharing it, because then you can, because you are. You have confirmed and you have created this image that you are a walking beauty. I've seen on the internet on a lot of documentaries and investigation and whatever, they're trying to find the women to bring them forward to acknowledge that it doesn't matter which shape they are in their development, to embrace themselves, that they are a woman and they are beautiful in each stage of their development, before giving birth, when they're pregnant, after giving birth, because they bring the pictures forward from the women which are proud to stand. But it's not only the women, not this time. This time, it is much more harder for the man to acknowledge that part which has never existed in their life. They check if every hair is in position. They check if the hair is the right color, the right amount, but they never acknowledge the beauty of what is already there, because this is the face that they walk out of the door to face in competition with so many other people. They never stand still that they will be perfect once they create and acknowledge their own beauty, which is a very strange word for a man. It is a strange word for a man to stand in the mirror and to create this beauty. He looks at the outer ring, the tie, the suit, the shirt, the trousers, the shoes, the haircut, the shaving, the perfume, everything for a lot of men is very important to be immaculate. But now, the person which is the reflection in the mirror, which is so immaculate to go for a business trip or for a meeting or for a work, is actually half full within that suit, because they never knew how to fill that suit up, that it can walk. And you know, when you will start doing this, all you man, even if you're in your clothes to go into your farm, if you go and work, step in out of the door with different types of your clothing for your jobs, what you intend to do today as a police or as a military or whatever, fill up that suit so full, because from that moment, that day you walk out of your door, you will be who you are. And then if that job was your job of your life, let's say a police officer or a doctor, you name it, then you will see the fulfillment in your job and how much smoother your work day will go in interaction with other people. Because now you can connect your heart, because your suit or whatever type of clothing you're wearing will be at the right energy level for it to shine for what it wants to serve. Because you take a job because you enjoy it, you studied a long time for it, or you're born in it. When you start going to your animals as a farmer or to your plants as an agriculture, you will see. You will start seeing the difference. You know, I don't need to tell you. Try it. Try it and come back with the feedback or type it in the chat rooms. This has the change, or this was the change brought from the day I start exercising myself in the mirror.
Excuse me, Caroline, there's some noise coming from the microphone, some clicking noise. It's quite loud. Yeah, that.
Okay, yeah, sorry, it's because my glasses
Okay.
are in the way and the
You can
microphone
adjust that. That would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna relieve my glasses. Just 1 second. I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of it. I thought that the microphone was supposed to. Yeah, it's because it's rubbing against my glasses.
Yep, that'll do it.
Perfect. You make me look like a surgeon with my eardubs.
We only hear your lovely voice, and the rest of it is just up to our imagination anyway.
Your imagination is, you will never look the same way in the mirror as you ever did before, Rick. I hope you're still doing it.
I sneak up to the mirror now so I can catch a glimpse before it notices me.
And what does it say to you?
You sneaky guy, you. That won't work either. No, the mirror is quite immediate. You can't put something over on it, really.
And secondly, the image appears, you can't even hide it. And the beautiful thing is, you can't even hide from yourself, because I think a lot of people, even the way they are dressed and they're standing in front of the mirror, they will even start noticing what they are dressing, what they are dressed up in, and the task they have taken on their shoulders, because the clothes you wear before you go out of the house, let's say you go into your work position, each one of you have a different outfit. One has the teacher outfit, one has the nurse outfit, doctor, engineer, you start naming it. So each one of you, because of the type of profession you do, you wear like a kind of a uniform. Even a farmer has his own uniform, the boots, the jeans, and a loose shirt, and maybe a hat on the top. So each one of you in your own profession, because you're there for your choice of reason, you will never look at even your face or your expression and your beauty, but now you're going to start connecting the way you're dressed, how this suit will be filled up with a different intent. Now you have a lot of loading to do, huh? But it will be beautiful. And if you involve your children in this exercise, this is what I brought from the past, from the children, when they got bullied in the school, when the children go to school full load with their own energy, they will not run into these kind of problems, because then they can't attract this kind of bullies. Because you attract them because there's something out of position with you. So they pick on you for you to react, to emerge, to wake you up. They're playing the game with you, the tic-tac game, pushing game. Wake up. You don't need to be bullied. You just need to acknowledge how beautiful you are, that we don't have to pick on you for you to come forward. So the bullying in schools is not so much the bullies. It is again back onto your own plate. Why do you create the fields to be bullied? This is the reverse of the thinking of people. This is a reverse of a lot, because it's always you who create your field, your creation, your intent. You walk with this kind of energy. Now, when you do the mirror image, reflecting communication with yourself, and you start filling up, and you're filling up very fast because it's so natural, then you walk out of that door with a totally different cup of energy. Now, for a lot of children, you can make that difference. If you know that your child has been bullied in school, change his fields by himself, and then he will start walking out of the door a totally different, changed personality. That's the trick. I am just giving you tools. Feel free to exercise them. But so far, what I have heard in the background, it seems to be working. It seems to ignite a lot of laughter, a lot of smiles, because this is also that period of meditation, because you stand still in front of yourself with a reflection, and you take at least that 1 minute to look in your own eyes, to pay attention to yourself. That's the time you connect with your soul. That's the time you connect with who you are, and you make space, and everything else gets removed for that 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 minutes attention you pay to yourself. That is a really true meditation, because it's not going in silence. At the same time, you're filling the cup of your soul. You're in full communication. You're in full respect. You're in full acknowledgement. And you create a beautiful being out of your own physicality. So, you want more magic? Go and try. But involve your children, because you can start preventing certain behaviors in certain points of the society by just this simple exercise. Because the child is full before he goes out of the door, his energy fields, so his impression of how he expresses himself, the others sense it. So when you give him that key to change his fields, the others cannot respond to an old field because he's no more there. He has changed his energy level. He has changed the way he's beaming it out. And you will see his life path changing. Now, that's also a protection for children, a huge protection. Because the ones which are the bullies have the same problem. You will reverse their condition as fast as you're reversing the one who are getting bullied. So you create the balance. So if you are teachers in this presentation, when the schools restart in September, which is for the European side of the world, try to do the exercise every morning with each one of your children in the classroom, to give them the tools to acknowledge themselves. You will create such a peaceful class. You will not have those ADDs running around. You will not have the bullies around. You will have no victims in the classroom anymore. Because you have managed to bring them all to their own level of what they appreciate in themselves. You make them cup full. So they can start spelling over, and they will pay more attention to somebody who can't reach or get to the level that, because he just is a little bit short, they will start sharing their energy with each other. So you're going to balance a whole classroom with 20, 30 children in such an easy way. Because you give them the hand to explore their soul. to learn where to find a path, how to communicate. And you can bring it as an exercise. And then once you see that they're getting into it, then you can go and explore more with their understanding how they can make it even better, because most probably they will come back to you with a feedback which will be amazing. And these are all those things that I'm requesting from teachers. Please bring them back as an experience to share with so many. How did you change the levels with this exercise? Bring it as a feedback, and maybe even write it out like a manual for other teachers. Publish it for moms, for fathers, and see how this exercise and where does it go. Because you have, let's say, 20 children in front of you in the classroom. That's 20 souls. You teach them how to reach their own soul, to elevate their own soul. You cannot give them a bigger gift than this, by the acknowledgement that they are beautiful. And so many more attributes they carry. And then maybe you can even take it to a higher level, as I said, when they're in a classroom. You can ask each one to acknowledge a beauty or an attribute in the other one. So they will uplift each other stepwise. So the energy in the whole classroom just grows. You level it up. You elevate the souls. Anybody, any questions, please? Enjoy your mirror.
Thank you, Caroline. I'll remind the attendees here in the Zoom meeting that they can put up their hand. I believe we have that activated. Yes, they can put up their hand and become a panelist to ask a question. And we have some panelists here now. Perhaps someone would like to begin.
Caroline, it's Doug. Hey, how
Welcome.
are you?
Thank
you very much. Thank you. There was a Walt Disney film years ago called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and the Queen used to look in the mirror, and kind of a reverse of what we're doing. She was trying to see herself as the most powerful, and she was worried about somebody being more beautiful. But she said to it's in the film, and she said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful?" And I would say, soul of all. And I think that's important. And somebody mentioned in the chat that in ancient Greece, Narcissus, however the story's been changed to suit the gender, Narcissus saw his reflection in a pool of water and fell in love with himself. What a crime. And it's really, really simple. The mirror in Feng Shui, in Chinese science of shifting energies, the mirror is the most important or the most powerful tool to shift energy. So the ancients are onto something that we're now rediscovering, and it's really simple. You stand in front of the mirror and look beyond your physicality, look into your eyes, and you'll see your soul as an ever-fresh, youthful, invigorated, enthusiastic contributor to the universe. And that's pretty good.
Thank you. Anyone else that can share something which brings a memory back from something you've been reading, that it can connect to the soul reflection or mirroring to your own soul? Please, people, remember what I tried to explain yesterday. Don't stay in the shadows. When you participate and you bring and share your energy level of knowledge, your soul energy with us, we will jump from one platform to another, and you will see the shifting of the sharing, because we will start synchronizing with each other. I know it is not easy at the beginning, because we have to start. If you could continue without stopping, then you would see the levels going up and up and up and up, because we are interconnecting on certain levels, and we change the platform as we want to direct of what is needed or what needs to be more synchronized. So take a deep breath and start participating. Then we'll see where the journey today will bring us, because it is a blueprint week. And the most beautiful thing you can do is to bring your beauty in a peaceful way, so we can make it even more beautiful. Thank you.
Hello, this is Maria from Norway. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. I started this exercise this morning, so I'm pretty fresh with that. But I'm surrounded by young people in their teens, and I see that they are in lack of self-confidence. Some of them are looking very confident, but on the inside they are not. So I think this exercise is so important to get out. And when I was a teenager myself, I didn't have any confidence. So I wish I had it then. So because it's actually very easy to try do this exercise and build up your confidence and connection to the soul. That's my reflection on that. Thank you.
You're right. Thank you. It is the lack of self-confidence is coming, as I explained. The vessel is empty. It has not been replenished. It has not been receiving the confirmation I exist enough for it to pick up its own existence. That's where that 20% lack of energy is existing on this planet. Now, you all have received the tools. Try to figure out how we can get this to a broader public, or get it more informed to, if they do it, you don't even need to start explaining to them for what purpose they need to do it, but as an exercise of, how can I say? It's the same technique, it's the same path as when you're a knowledge seeker and you want to go out and you want to get somebody into the foundation and you want to convince them and you will start explaining things which is from an akrabadabra language which they do not understand. You can't reach them. They keep you on a distance, they heard the name, somehow, because they received your message, it goes through the soul path. It's lingering in the back of their head, but it takes a while before they then make the step as a few have expressed this kind of feeling or coming, how they came into the foundation. Now, this works the same. Do not explain the depth of what you're trying to teach them, because you will spook them off. But try to bring it in a playful way with minimum of information, but as an exercise to see how the reflection can give the smile on the face. If you even just go out on the street and you just stand still and you say, they did it on camera. You can even carry, you know, a small handy cam. If you really want to go and test it out, you go to people, you know, in the shopping malls, on the shopping streets or on the markets, you go to them, you know, like you're going to make an interview. And you say, we are only going to say one thing to you. That's all. And you just tell them, you are so beautiful. You're going to catch it on camera. The whole face just glows up. The eyes turn into stars. Because at that moment, at that point, you have balanced the 20% short of energy, which is the confirmation of existence. If they have given you such a big smile, you can ask them, how did this feel? And they will even go more shy. But then you can ask them, can you please do this exercise in the morning in front of the mirror and say how beautiful you are? And if they say yes, you have one more soul, which you balance the 20%. And you ask them to do it for minimum a week to 2 weeks, because it's for a project. Give them a goal for what, but first, by confirming them, they did it themselves, you give them a hand to start doing it without anything else. If they ask more questions and they want to know more, then you can go, the path is open for you to explain more. Then you create a real balanced soul. And you're very correct, my darling. There are a lot of teenagers which don't have this. The pimples, the hair, the growing, the changing in emotions, the hormone changing, the environment changing, the picking, the hassling. They have a lot of worries on their head. And a lot of people are not even aware that these kind of problems are existing, because they look good. They try to take care of themselves. But inside, deep inside, they really suffer, because there are a lot of changes going on in their inside, and the society is not taking care of them. They do not get carried in that way that they can carry themselves enough, sufficient enough. And a lot of people maybe now will come to understand how easy it will be to shift. And if you can use this different, how can I say, tips, how to apply it, and then maybe in a few days' time come back and say, wow, this has done what is done for me, or have seen and I applied it with others and it works, or in what way it works. Because it will ignite for so many other people to find a different path, how they can exercise or give it as a gift to somebody else. So please come and share more. And thank you for your first exercise this morning. I'm so grateful you did it.
Oh, thank you, Carolina.
Hello, Caroline.
Hello, good morning. Your name,
Good morning.
please.
This is Jamila. I want to share this my point of view about this exercise. I agree with you, Caroline. It's a very powerful exercise. to go to the mirror and to tell yourself something like beautiful or whatever. I am using it to for coaching people to their self-confidence, self-esteem, and I can say that it's very, very difficult for many people to see themselves in the mirror and tell themselves, looking at the eyes, and say, I love you. It's very, very hard. I did not notice that it could be so hard. I get people crying with a lot of tears when they try to say I love you to themselves. Then they use in two steps. First, they use their name. For example, saying, Maria, I love you, not I love myself. So they did it to make it easier in two steps. For example, I can say, Jamila, I love you. It's less painful than saying, I love you directly with connection to my soul, to myself. So they use that in two steps, and once they are ready, they can use it directly, saying, I love you, looking at deep in the eyes. And once they go through this step, they start being another person, shining, happy, like something happened, like stars in the eyes, and they change the relation with people around them, and it's very, very beautiful, because I can notice the changes, and they become to be radiate something nice and happiness. It's like they get connection with their own energy and their own power. So it's really powerful and beautiful, this exercise. This is what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you very much, Jamila. You are in the background working together with us on a lot of letters. You're a beautiful writer. You're a very inspiring soul. We are very happy to have you in the councils.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Anybody else, please, can step forward.
Hello, Caroline.
Hi, good morning. Who are you?
I'm Edie Lee. And
Evelyn? Evelyn?
No, Edie.
Edie, okay, got it.
This is the first time I've come forward, and I've wanted to say a few thank yous, because I have been listening in secret for years. Too scared to come forward because I was at universities for a long time, or because of the research. I do biomedical research, and of course you can understand that these people are not exactly open to a lot of things sometimes. I wanted to thank Rick. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank Sandor and Sandy and these people who were so courageous for so long in the work they do. But the story I came forward for was something that had to do with the mirror thing. When I look in the mirror, I see me, and then I compare it. Oh yeah, do I have blonde hair? No. Do I have a perfect figure? No. And after I get through that, I kind of say, boy, that's a waste of time. And I just look at the space behind me in the mirror and the space around the features of my face. And I see the history of my culture and my people. I see my mother, my father. I see the nature I was born in because, you know, I'm Arawak Indian. So we are islanders, and fruit and vegetables and a few fish were really all what was in our diet. And so there was a lot of carbohydrates. So you have that little plumper filled out features. I can't digest many things that are in European diets, like kale and coal and so on. So I see really the effects of my heritage. And then when I look further beyond that, I see that what I'm saying I'm beautiful to has nothing to do with appearance. It has to do with the amazing beauty of nature. That there's really not a me that I'm calling beautiful, but that intrinsic connection between all the nature and between my inseparability to that. And when I touch that, I have so much power. And I'm so happy. And I could never think of myself as a comparison to anybody in a model magazine. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. It is the mirror image exercise. I don't know how far or how many people have been aware when Mr. Keshe explained that there is a constant shortage on this planet because the way it has been created, the way it has come into existence, and it has not been guided very well. So there is a constant shortage, which is not so much because he expressed himself as 20%. Now, it has taken time to find, because you can go into media, you can go into publications, writers, meditation, Xing Hui, you can go in Japanese culture, you can go into every depth of culture which they have been working or trying to solution to rebalance people. Not only rebalancing, but to find the secret where the shortage is present and why it's there on a constant base that you're always short, because everyone will recognize the point that the only thing, you can see it very much in little children, you see it in adult behavior as well, and that is the feedback of I exist. I exist feedback is when you acknowledge somebody on continuous basis, they go quiet, they go calm, especially children. They're full of energy, but they are already in the shortest of that energy. Now, if you can calculate, it's only 20%. and it has extended into the plant world, the animal world. It is a shortage which this planet carries. So if we can come to understand how to replenish this 20%, and that each one of us have the key to do it, to balance a whole planet, I don't think it should be that difficult that you have to do a whole life or maybe 2 or 3 generations to become a full martial arts specialist to achieve the full balance of your mind, your body, and your soul. These are for a few which go in the monasteries, which are really getting trained, which have that time of life to spend to develop that part. But because they are getting and receiving the training and they're training so many others, it doesn't come behind or outside their walls. So you and the rest cannot benefit. And the techniques that are applied, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a part of life. It's a choice. It's a desire. It's an expression of their existence here. But the knowledge they have gathered, they know the path. And we have seen them coming, the masters, which have been trained by masters and masters. But there are only so few that we could not balance the planet. We could not fill up all the gaps because not everybody even has the time with 3 jobs a day. Impossible. But I hope with this key of mirroring to connect with your soul, to balance that 20% within yourself with a simple smile and confirmation you exist, and open the communication path with your soul, I think we might have found a path. And through the support of knowledge, as through the Ganses, to bring people much faster to this level. But the whole beauty is, if the knowledge seeker starts working with it, they are the majority on souls present, then it will become as an accepted, balanced creation of energy. The others will receive too. So it's not only one individual going and standing in front of the mirror. The whole beauty is to increase this knowledge, to apply it wherever you see need for. But if you experienced it yourself, you become automatically a much easier teacher or sharer or inspirer. Whatever way you look at it or however way you analyze it. And I had 2 different beautiful reactions to it, and from so many others as well. But Rick said, I will never look in the mirror the same way again. And then Dr. Gwata came forward. He said, I just bursted in laughing. My ribs were hurting because he found the path. He's really in searching of the path of the soul. Dr. Gwata is really dedicating his life in connection with being a knowledge seeker, working in the agriculture, already bringing so much beauty of his work forward, of understanding. But he was forever in searching, to find that key. He also brought the question forward of the energy, how to create it, how to play with it, how to emerge it to a vision that you can visually see the fields emerging. He's a real searcher, as so many of you are on the same path of searching. And I think this was one of the, or is maybe one of the easiest ways to inspire people to do the soul connection. Because if you reach as many as we want to reach, that 20% will just vanish. And that's where you create a stability of fields which will be maintained, because you will notice very soon you will not go to the mirror to get the confirmation. You will start confirming it away from the mirror. And then you will stay in that field. So the 20% shortage of balance is no longer there. You carry your cup full, which is your soul, your body, your inspiration, your sharing, your glowing, whatever you want to give a name on it. You are a walking, balanced field, a walking, balanced plasma field. You have so many extras through zinc, through CO2, CH2, CuO, the magravs, star formations, your nano-coating process, your pain pens, your pain pads, you name it. They will, because you have connected with your soul and balanced that 20%, now you will start, instead of them giving to you, now you will return the favor back to them. You will see how they will ignite, how they will reposition themselves, because they're created, their souls, with your presence of no longer being a needy child, which has always been short and didn't know how to balance. Now you become that fourth generator, the fourth core, as a soul, an individual, a vessel, and that's where you're going to make the difference. That's where you're going to create the balance, and they're going to stay stable. Because the interaction of your ganses and your magras and your star formations, whatever you have created as a knowledge seeker around you, everything will go into a perfect balance.
Caroline?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Good day, Jalal here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Can you please expand in how to process autism for 10-year child?
Dr. Klaus, you're present, yes? Or Dr. Rodrigo? Dr. Klaus?
I'm present, yes. Hello.
Hello. Dr. Klaus, can you pull the, how do we call the procedure for children with autism? Do you have it handy, or you need time to go and find it?
I can copy it in the chat if you like to.
Yes, please.
Okay. Give me just a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Klaus. Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
No problem. It will appear in the chat. So we have, Mr. Keshe has expressed himself quite a few times. When there is a shortage and children are suffering or in need, or you know the path isn't the way it should be, please, you can always post in the chat. The doctors are keeping an eye on the background, or you can mention it here in the public. If you are in any need of help, we're giving priority on the children at this moment. All the other things which have to do with health, if you have understood what I just came to explain, you can change the fields from anyone with any illness. We are still there to support. You still carry your supports with your ganses and the right combinations, which what the doctors have been working with. But if you stand still and you bring a child in front of the mirror or any sick person, and you offer them the reflection of their own mirror, they will communicate with their soul. They can replenish and reposition all the fields which are out of balance. They don't need doctors, they don't need chemotherapy, they don't need to suffer, because they are in the same position as any other person, short of energy or in excess of energy, and it just needs to rebalance. The only lack of energy emerges like this when there has been a big shift in their life, or they cannot accept something, or something has changed. Whatever the reason is. Nobody even needs to know. But you have the beauty for them to learn to communicate in a very gentle way with their soul. You will see them walking. Pardon. You will see them changing. Offer them the gift. Please do. And then I would really love to have the feedback on that one. Especially young ones, they can make that transition very, very fast, because you have given them the path to their soul. Adults, you can reach them at the same time. This is Jalal butting in, but he had to butt in, because maybe I would have forgotten to mention it. When you have a balanced soul, you have a balanced body. And I said to Flint, how can there be something else existing in a full cup of life, full of joy, full of pleasure and recognition and confirmation? It is existing, and it has the right to exist. What else can you put in that cup? That's why I expanded the application in the mirror with somebody extra next to you, and to go and wonder what else is beautiful about you, yourself. Because if you create that cup so full, I cannot even put a drop or a pin of a needle in it, because there's simply no room in the existence of beauty. There can be no shadow parts. There can be only a mirror and a reflection of beauty. But you have to fill it up. You have to fill it up so full that it runs over. That counts the same for people which are carrying illnesses or which are out of balance. It doesn't matter. The healing process comes because there is no room for existing anything else in that cup except life, pure energy, beautiful energy that is shines like a sun. You're really going to have to try to force to put something else in it when it's so full with beauty. And if you can maintain it, and the systems around you will support it, there is no way you can add darkness or imbalance or negativity or pain or suffering in that cup, because you're washing everything out. Because you create a sun within you that radiates everything out. Yes, somebody wanted to talk.
It was me, Caroline. I just wanted to tell you that the text is in the chat now. And Jalal, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Basically, we found out that most of people suffering with autism are poisoned by mercury. And it was a big surprise for all of us. CH3, if you take CH3, if you wash, as Mr. Keshe suggests, or inhale with CH3 with a combination with CO2 and zinc oxide, the mercury, the poison in your body, turns to the Gans of gold, and in this way it more or less disappears. And additionally, you get your energy out of this Gans of gold, and people can release and process during months with this kind of drinking and washing CH3, CO2, and zinc oxide Gans.
Thank you, Dr. Klaus. I am really joyful. I am very happy, and I am jumping. Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you don't have access to the Ganses, please just tell us. We bring you in contact. We have Keshe Foundations and knowledge seekers already all over the world. Please be aware, if you produce CH3, produce it with a zinc-coated iron, not only with iron. There is a little secret in it. You have to use this mesh. Most of us use this chicken mesh, and it must be a zinc-coated iron, because there needs to be first the environment of CO2, and then the iron comes in. And as you know, when we are producing GANs, we do nothing than making a magnet which pulls all the fields out of the environment, and these can manifest then in the salt water and use them to drink and to inhale, to bath in it, to wash your body with it. Any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yes, Klaus, this is John here. The CH3, as far as I can remember, Mr. Keshe said it turns into blood and then into some sort of meat, doesn't it, in the process?
Some kind of meat. I don't know this procedure yet. Could be that he talked about it, but I don't know which kind of meat it's turning to.
Mr. Keshe, I think he said living creature. And also, you mentioned you transform the mercury into gold. And it's interesting because the monoatomic gold is used to strengthen our neurological part of the body, and it should give us longevity, shouldn't it?
Could be, yes.
If I may interrupt, do not go in the confusion of matter state. This has nothing to do with matter state. This is in the level of the fields, plasma fields. So the body consumes, because of the conversion, the gold in plasma state, not in gold, as you know, as you can make jewelry out of it. Do not mistake. It is always in the field state, not in matter state. So the child can thrive on that plentiful of reserve of energy, because he has a non-ending supply, because the body keeps on converting for the benefit of the child to receive that kind of energy. It is not in a matter state. Do not make the mistake, because they only drink the Gans waters and they take the fields from the Gans waters. You never use the water in your body. It just passes through. But the body is always absorbing or taking or converting the fields to where they are needed, and also the amount they need. So do not make the mistake that it's the water or it's coming into a matter state. It goes in and it straightway converts into Gans state, which is a plasma field, and from there on it takes this journey. I have noticed something beautiful which has been added to this, not only for autistic people. You have seen at the bottom it says for dentists too. So the mercury which has been put as fillings in your teeth, now you can convert that energy if they have or haven't start creating problems for you. You will change the fields and they will become like a feeding station for your body, but in the plasma field, not matter state. You bring the water as a matter state, but it carries all the fields. And that's where it starts doing its path of converting in your body. You only take what you need and convert what you need at the point of need of conversion. So you cannot even damage or harm yourself because your body only takes what it needs from the fields. This is exactly the same procedure as you're doing with your mirroring effect. Looking in the mirror, you create a state of fields because you do not give your soul food in a matter state. You're feeding it by acknowledgement. You're making it so plentiful, so full that I just use the word sun. The sun radiates and burns everything in its path. Now you have all the tools to become a very powerful sun. You can compare it with the matter state of the sun we see outside, but you can now create that sun within you. But through the fields, and the sun, when it's hot enough and it's bright enough and it shines enough, it can light up the whole world. And it reaches all of us from the position it is already. Now you bring that kind of what you know what the sun is, the warmth, the clarity, the light, the color, that is what you position within you. Any more questions, please?
Yes, to us. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Well.
Shall we say ladies first? Thank you.
Okay, this is to class. You were talking about drinking the CH3 water. I assume you're talking about putting the CH3 Gans in a vial and then creating plasmatic water and drinking that?
How do you use your CH3 water? I always say at the bottom of your bottle, you should have the Gans in its matter state at the bottom, but it's still plasma. But I mean, you can physically see the red color. On the top, you have the water. You just take the top layer, quite a few centimeters still above the color red, and you just take the top layer of the water off, and that is your CH3 water. That's your plasma water. And then you can refill the bottle, you shake it, and you let the whole procedure to go back down to a full rest. And then you can tap again from the top layer of the water. And this is an application for all the Ganses. Or
yes, but is that the water that we're drinking? Or are we putting that in a vial and energizing normal distilled water and drinking that?
No, you can directly drink it. I can tell you something because we made a water test. we made the same test like they did in Ghana and in other destinations of the foundation. We made CO2, zinc oxide, CO, and CH3 water, exactly like Carolina said. And then we let the water test by authorities. But I just labeled the water as tap water. And the outcome was it is clear, high quality drinking water. So you needn't be afraid, because some said if there are zinc plates in the salt water and nano-coated copper, there are a lot of chemicals, or there are a lot of metals inside. There's a process of washing the plates. There's a process of washing the ganses. And it is more or less a kind of plasma filter we are then using when we give our washed Gans into pure water and shake it and let the Gans settle down. And if you take the water above the down-settled Gans, then this is seen from the chemical analysis and from the chemical point of view, from the water researchers, from the authorities, this is clear drinking water. But of course, as Carolina said, we're talking about the fields behind it. And these fields are the fields our body understands and our body adopts.
Could you explain just one more thing about how the zinc in beforehand, before the creation of the CH3, leads to this environment that you're talking about? Did I make myself clear?
Can you explain? Oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Can you rephrase your question, please?
Yeah,
I don't understand exactly what you want to know.
Okay, he had mentioned, I was taking notes while he said it, one tiny part there because of a glitch in the system, that there was the CH3 and we needed the zinc-coated iron chicken mesh, which I've used before too. And you said you have to use the chicken mesh because something I didn't hear. And then the CO2 environment pulls all the fields out of it. And I was just trying to figure out what the zinc creates the CO2 environment. And then what happens after that?
Okay. I mentioned this because in the first months after the teachings of the blueprints, when Mr. Keshe talked about how to nano-coat, how to make Gans,
yes, I've seen that one. And I'm not talking about the question of using the zinc iron-coated chicken wire. I'm talking about what happens. The zinc oxide on the thing creates a CO2 Gans. And yes, then you have the iron there that's exposed that now creates iron Gans. And you said this pulls all the fields out of the salt water.
Out of the environment, yes. Because if you produce CO2, you take nano-coated copper wire or plate, and you take a zinc plate. And I said you first have to have this environment of CO2, which is the nano-coated copper and the zinc, because we have a zinc-coated iron. And then you have the environment with the nano-coated copper and the iron. And this in combination leads to CH3.
Would it work to put CO2 Gans directly into the iron process? So if
Klaus,
yes, please go ahead.
If I took purified CO2 and I went ahead and I added it to the process of my iron Gans making, would that work as well?
You know, there are a lot of possibilities how we can reach this, but what we said also in the inner team, that we should not confuse anymore, and we should just give one guidance how to produce CH3, and this is just using the nano-coated copper plate and the mesh, because everybody can get the mesh in the markets. And this is the easiest way, and the way we can say this is really CH3.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Klaus, it's interesting because you mentioned to use a galvanized iron nail, which is oxidized. And in the process of galvanizing, you've got an amalgamation between the iron and the zinc. The same procedure is in our teeth when they use the mercury with lead to fill in our teeth. It's an amalgamation, and that must help the process of producing the CH3.
Interesting point. Thank you for this.
Yeah,
hello?
we all have to sort of study the different processes, because I've had a pretty big discussion with the people here in Spanish. They are sort of putting into doubt about the production of CH3 and what it's for and what does it convert itself into. And also the color of the golden Gans, the Gans of gold. Many sort of, I think they confuse what, when they put a piece of gold, 18 karat gold, into as an electrode, and I find they are taking what the copper out of the gold, and they're only getting copper Gans and not gold Gans. As far as I can remember, the golden Gans is made out of reactors, with the distance between different reactors. Is this true?
I can answer you this one. No. It has been in the teaching. Mr. Keshe has explained it quite a few times. It is going through a fully, totally different procedure. With reactors, yes, but nobody has reached that state yet. With the reactors, you can, as I explained yesterday, your MAGRAPH system is an oasis system. An oasis system can produce whatever you need at the point of demand. Mr. Keshe has not even, that time when Rick brought the oasis picture forward, one thing he has even, we couldn't, because that at the very beginning, because I knew what this oasis system could do. He has fully explained it. It's a full sustainable system. It's everything. It's the flight, it's the provider, it's the converter, it's everything. Now, the only thing which was even mentioned in that picture of the oasis system was that he could create a dome, a shielding, that it could bring, let's say the picture you saw where the people sitting on the fire, as like in a shelter around it, that it was producing heat, water, whatever you needed. But at the same time, that system can create a dome, a shielding system that lifts you up from the earth, which is still going through its tremors if you're in an earthquake zone, and it shelters you with a dome field against the weather conditions. So the oasis system, which is a maggraph, or through a star formation, or through different procedures as you're going to find your path within this wisdom, you can produce anything or convert anything. It's actually conversion for the fields, because it's always in a nano state, it's always in a plasma field. So you receive and you will be able to apply the fields. There are only a few in the Keshe Foundation who have managed to produce that state in that way. Now, if you have understood and you really came to the point, but you missed the point, is when you apply the plasma fields from the Gans, from CH3, in a condition that they have injected you with mercury, it should have come already clear to you how to produce gold, because it's already in there. Your body has received what? And it is in a Gans state, because it's within the Gans. It's only your skin which is in a matter state. Everything which is passing the mouth goes into a Gans position state. So if you understood the application of the CH3 in autism, which is the converting of the mercury to become into a gold, nano gold state, for then to become a provider for the body as a supplier of that field, it is an everlasting feeding station. That person who received that injection is actually, funny to say, has his own feeding station, because he has access to the fields of the CH3 plasma. Now, you should find your path very easy to make gold, because it's right in that text, right in front of you. You don't need no reactors. You just need to work with the fields from the plasma. You can convert anything. You can create everything. It's just your intent from the start, before you even start, will give you the result what you're aiming for. CH3, the way Dr. Klaus has explained how it is produced, it should give you a reddish gold color. When you go and manufacture it on a big scale, the color changes into slight green. Just 1 second, please. I'm sorry. That's on Mr. Topoli. Sometimes I need to get interrupted for some or another reason, but I hope you have understood. If you, as we are lining out the procedures, the standard procedures, I just projected a picture of me and Dr. Klaus in Austria. That was my first Gans station. I had the 4 Ganses for the first time at home, and I understood the full procedure. I had the CEO, the zinc, the CO2, and the CH3. And they were producing, and I even put them on the outside of the house than in the inside of the house, that they can take from their environment, because there are more fields available. The wind, the rain, the temperature difference, the trees, the storms, they all bring the soup of the fields to create my Ganses. Even if you try, when you are making your corals or nano-coated material, and you have the patience to go and hang them under the trees in nature, they will be polished by so many fields. They absorb and they become so rich. They become like shining diamonds, because you have given them the opportunity to go in a different position of absorbing fields. If you follow the standard procedure as we have put out, we have set out the way how to nanocoat, how to treat your nanocoated coils or whatever you're using, and you work from the point of respect, and you know before you start your procedure for what topic or for what purpose they're going to serve you, or you want them with your intent for what to serve for, there are a lot of drops of information everywhere, how you can achieve the top, best, beautiful, energetic creation of you. Then it's a matter of understanding, don't go in the chemical world. Do not go in the matter state. You are not working with no matter. Although you have produced it, you can physically see it, but that's not where the working is sitting and hidden. It is with the fields you're working. When you come to accept that when you drink the water doesn't do anything, it's just a carrier to bring it into your body, you are benefiting from the fields which then your body will absorb or reset, or for whatever words you want to use. You work continuously in the knowledge with the fields. Is it CO2, zinc, or CH3? Step away from, because it doesn't work that way. Your body is in a Gans state, so it doesn't even digest the food, doesn't go through any walls to go somewhere to replenish something. Your food is passing for your body to be able to absorb the fields from what you eat. And if you have already, like the lady was complaining, I cannot eat certain foods, it's because you have no need of those fields which contain in those foods. It cannot balance you because it throws you out of balance, because you're already are plentiful. Because of food, you can force yourself to receive more fields. With the Ganses, you cannot do this because they are already in the plasma state. Food you put in, you chew, they have to go through you. So when you have too much, you actually are putting your body out of balance. That's why she's complaining, I can't eat certain foods. If you come aware of your body, how it functions, it's not the food, it's just, it gives you an alarm system. This is not for me because I have already plenty of it. It's not that you can't touch the food. No, there's nothing wrong with the food. It's just they are not coherent with your fields. You cannot replenish your fields because you already have plenty of it. But you will go for the foods which you're short of. Just watch children. Watch children and put a variation of foods, different foods on the table. Now see how different children go for different foods on the table. One will only eat vegetables. The other one will only go for the sweets. The other one will only go for meat. The other one will only go for pasta, potatoes. And that gives you the indication their body, through their working of their brain, is already pre-dominating, pre-guaranteeing that it will go for reaching for the food or the vegetable or the sweet, because that's what the body at that time needs the fields from. Not the sugar, not the pasta, not the potato. It goes because it knows from imprint. Your body knows because it analyzes what it sees through the vision, what contains what. And if you listen and you're more in tune with your body, just watch how you eat. Watch what you drink. Because there is more information than you can even imagine in there. It tells you exactly as your hand is going for what you need. And you can see it with pregnant women. They suddenly, out of nowhere, they go for gherkins. They go even in the middle of the night, they just open the jars with the gherkins and they can eat gherkins whole night. And before, they would not even touch them because they're not with their field. So the state, because they're pregnant, has become in a different state. Now they're urging, it's a need because the baby and the fields are requesting something else. So you go automatically for what you have to fill up or rebalance what you're short of. But it's not the food, it's not the gherkins. She's literally going for the fields which are needed for the fetus and for herself to balance most probably the salts or the whatever is in there. The sulfur, the potassium, the magnesium, the calcium, it's all within those ingredients you're going to put in your mouth. But once you put it in your mouth, it was very clear in the medical teachings, you convert it into plasma, in Gans. You are a converter. You convert every matter into a state of a field. And that's what your body is absorbing from what you're giving it. Even your teeth, each single teeth has a brain of its own. How to chew it, how long to chew it. Everything in your body is so tuned. You can't even imagine what a wonderful world and what a wonderful being your body is. And it's so tuned to know exactly how long to chew, the amount of saliva it has to produce. You have no idea how beautiful your creation is and what it is capable of. But a lot of this knowledge has become in the reach of people now through documentaries, through research, and they're publishing their papers. But the common man doesn't even have time because to keep them so busy working that they don't have time to open a book to do the research on their own. But it's a magnificent state of art, your body, and how it conducts itself. So when you see children and you give them everything on the table and you watch them from a distance, you will start understanding what their needs are. Because they only go for what they need, because they don't think, they don't analyze like an adult. I have to take so many calories, I have to eat from these type of things, I have to balance this and that. Try to see what your body tells you what you need by letting it choose itself. When you stand in the window of, let's say, a patisserie, but it also has a grocery and it also has a bread department, just walk by and see what your attention goes first at, the attraction point. You go for very sweet, sweet, sweet. That means that body, that point needs it. You will not choose a fruit, and there is an abundance of fruit. But certain people touch bananas and certain people do not touch bananas because banana has a very high content of potassium. We have lost that information, that connection. Africa hasn't. Indians have not. They are mature still in their own culture. They make sure when you're going to touch a hot food, a curry, which is very hot, very spicy, to have yogurt because it lines the body for what hotness it's going to receive to put a protection layer that it damps down the heat of the peppers. Nobody has ever been explained the new fruit kiwi has come in the market. In the Western world, you should not touch kiwis because the country of origin where it came from, they are eating it in combination with the sweet pepper, red, yellow, the long ones with the very tiny seeds in the middle. I don't know the name of those peppers, but you have to sustain your diet. If you want to eat kiwi, you have to eat those peppers in combination because they balance the fields between the two. Mehran explained that to me. He says, do not touch kiwi because you need to eat that in combination with this. It's the same combination as you, or explanation as you say. When you take magnesium, you always have to take zinc. If you take zinc, you have to have the combination with magnesium because it interlocks. One is the hook and one is the circle. So one cannot do its function if the other one is not present. Another thing which people don't stand is when you go for extra supplements of the B12s or B6 or B9 or whatever B, never single a B out on its own to take it as a support. Always go for the full complex B, because if you take it for a very long time, you start depleting yourself from the other Bs. But people don't explain that to people. So try to trust your instinct that from now on you will even look different at your food. And why you choose different tastes and different fruits and vegetables, respect, because that's what your body is going for, because that's exactly the fields it needs to rebalance itself inside through the plasma field. Not because you're chewing a pepper or you're chewing a cucumber or you're chewing a apple or a pear. It's the fields which are within that your body knows that it needs to rebalance itself. It's a processing system, the same as we are applying for the health system. So, sir, if you understand that the mercury is present in your teeth and the children which are autistic have been injected with the same product, now you can remove that problem. You can actually use it to the benefit of the child or to the benefit of the person they try to harm, to put those mercury fillings in the teeth because they knew. Now you have become a master of knowledge, a doctor, a scientist, and a dentist at the same time, that you have the answers to convert the fields as to where you want that destination to go. Now you see how rich your life is instead of going into dispute, because I've seen these conversations in the background in the Spanish community. They really make life not easy for each other. They really trying to go so nitty-gritty into so many extreme of details that they're even losing why they're even working together. I've watched the Spanish community from a distance. I try to support them. I try to be there, but they have different mentality, the same as I have problems with communicating sometimes with the Italian people. You have temperament and a different culture. And I hope that the Universal Council and the Earth Council member will be able to bring that balance of understanding through the cultural point of view. Because I've seen so many knowledge seekers from the Spanish communities disappearing because of their how can I say, their passion of trying to find, but it should be so simple. And then I have the problem that I have the Portuguese, I have Spanish speaking, I have the different cultures under one speaking, Spanish speaking group, and I cannot put them in an individual group to guide them because I don't have sufficient knowledge seekers which can take care of each culture group. And you would work much easier as well because you're totally different, but I have to put you in one room because you're all understanding Spanish, but I understand the problem which is going behind the screen. So I hope that you as a messenger would be able to go back to the Spanish community and give them a guidance that it should not be so difficult. If they stick to the procedure of creating their Ganses and the applications and understand it has nothing to do with the matter form, you're only working in the Gans form, in the plasma state, life should be much easier to understand. If there are any more questions, please come to our teams, ask the questions. We will be glad to support you because you are covering a big part of this planet, Spanish-speaking people. We should be flooded with Spanish-speaking people. But somehow, because of their differences of culture, it's very hard to keep you all together and not to go, you know, you have a different temperament, which I adore and I admire, but you're not so easy to communicate with. But you can make,
Caroline,
you can make your gold, darling. You can make your gold you can make your nano atomic gold in your teams. Just analyze what is in this short text. Now you make the Ganses, and now you try to see how, and if you need help, we will support you in the background. Don't worry. Because Mr. Keshe is waiting for more people to be able to produce gold. But don't forget, what is your intent and purpose for creating gold? That's more important to have the outcome, to have the production of gold when it has the purpose to serve. If that is just, and this is in balance, and this is correct as your team, when you start, before you start, you're first going to have a communication before you even start. Because the destination of your creation has to serve a purpose. Otherwise, it will not appear in front of you. And this will be with anything you want to convert from any star formation, maggraph, or anything what you are creating. It will not give you the results if you don't stand from the point, what is my creation going to serve, and from the gift of giving. When you work with this ethos, you will change. You will get results. It's because the path of where you're walking to has not been considered that it is more important for your wish and your intent to create for what purposes will serve. As we are creating our wishes, it works the same way for your creation of your Ganses and your nano-coating process. If you understand that part, you will create anything you want, whatever you desire, because you have no limit in your creation.
You're quite right there, Caroline. I've been observing this and you've put it into fantastic words, the different cultures and the way the Latin mentality sees and thinks and reacts to the different points of view. It's very interesting.
When you
Hello?
understand, yes. Who's this?
No, continue.
I just wanted to add a little note to this. I have traveled to, if you can close your microphone, please. I have traveled to quite a number of countries. I have one, which is me. I always learn the language. I make the first step to learn the numbers, the first words, the greeting words. I create that path that I can communicate with the people which are around me. Doesn't matter if I'm ending up in Portugal, in Spain, in Italy. I make the effort to have a minimum basic of understanding of the language. That I am not a walking alien among something. I'm an outsider. No way. I learned French. I learned German. I learned English. I learned Spanish. I learned Italian. I understand Iranian. I know the words, but I can't make the sentence. I will learn so many more languages if they cross my path, because I make no limitation of my capacity to learn. I do not restrict myself. So with me being able to understand the Spanish in the language, although I have forgotten a lot of it, it takes 1 or 2 weeks when I'm back in Spain to polish my Spanish up again, I can observe the communications among other people. So you come to understand of the point of recognizing the words, how the culture functions. You watch the food, you watch their behavior one to another. They're hot-headed, they're calm with each other, they worship their children, or they overprotect their children, or they put them on a pedestal, or they beat them up. These are all the tiny little things. When you open the door to the first understanding of the basics of the language, you can understand the culture. That's why I know how Spanish people are functioning. I was in Spain, I was in Tenerife, I was in the Caribbean, I was in the Canarian. I have had my share of understanding Spanish people. I went to the different islands. I was in the main land of Spain, and each one is totally different. But because I can pick up the language, I get an imprint of their culture. And that's why I understand why the Spanish people are struggling so hard, because unfortunately, maybe we're going to have to do this kind of separation in the chat rooms, in the Universal Council chat rooms on Facebook, to separate each culture under its own name. And I think we will find a solution there in the first place. And then secondly, we have to find from different parts of Spain the knowledge seekers to support their own teams, because even from the south to the north is a day and a night difference. They don't understand each other's culture. They don't understand the impression how they speak. One gets offended and the other one gets embarrassed. And there is no need for it. It's just the different energy of expressing themselves that causes this kind of frictions among you. That's all. So we can sort it out. If you have an idea, I can create the chat rooms and we can walk and we can reconstruct the Spanish community to bring more people in, because this culture difference and mentality difference is not actually helping them. So maybe we can create a path for each culture to be able to understand and work more coherent than with this misunderstanding of culture, because that's the only problem we have. But my Spanish is not sufficient enough to start teaching in Spanish. You have to even talk very slowly and in a perfect Spanish that I can, I can orientate myself. But I had the feeling through this connection to understand why your path is the way it is. But we can change it. You wanted to ask something, gentleman in the background?
Yes, thank
John
you, Caroline.
Yeah, come forward.
Okay, yes, thank you, Caroline. Thank you for everything. This is Valerie from Tenerife. I have just a quick question for Klaus. When you spoke about inhaling and drinking CH3, CO2, and zinc oxides or liquid plasmas, what are the ratios that you used of all the three?
There is 1 point.
There was Carolina. There was somebody else communicating with us. It was a bird, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh yes, this is my parrot.
Hello.
Yeah, he's also precipitating here.
He is.
The truth is actually I found him when I was going down to the pool. So this is a gift I got from the source that I'm taking care of here now.
He sends a clear peace message.
I believe so. He's very loving. He likes to cuddle.
Maybe Caroline can introduce Topoli to the bird. Maybe he'll talk back.
Topoli is very quiet. Keep him quiet, please.
Yeah, we don't want him to learn bird language. He'll be really talkative then.
Yeah, he's very nice. He's quiet. He likes to cuddle. I don't know if it's a he or a she though. That's the problem. But I love him with all my heart.
I'm not going to tell you how to find out.
Well, I actually asked. It was not. I googled and they said that to go by the colors of the nose. But when I went to the professionals, they told me by DNA. That's the only way. But I don't want to do any of that.
Because they can even change if there is a need. It's known that you never know because they choose their to be a male or a female themselves when it's needed. Yes.
Yes. Now he said yes.
What was your question again, please?
There was about the ratios when you drink the CH3 liquid plasma, zinc plasma, and CO2. What are the ratios? Is it half of each or?
The ratios are in the chat.
Yes.
Sorry.
You go.
And you find it in the chat. Important when you drink and spray your bath or bath in it, try to always use the same ratio. But you find it in the chat if you scroll a bit up. It's 30% CH3, 20 CO2, and 50 zinc oxide.
The reason why it is like this is that you have to create the flow. You kick-started by the different ratios. So the flow can, because they're fields, you have to kickstart them to flow. So one pulls, the other one gives more. So there has to be a more and a less. That's why the person yesterday was explaining, when you put the bottles in the well, you have to use different ratios. No more, no less. But what is important, when you start for anybody to process them with the ganses, you use always from the same ganses. You don't change the ganses. You don't make a new batch of gans and add them or change or mix. Once you start up, you have to make sure you have sufficient enough gans to stay within those ganses in the food procedure, please. So make sure you don't lose your ganses.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Caroline, I find your commentary on the Spanish-speaking countries, it's very interesting. And there's also a big difference with Latin America, where the culture here, we've got a mixture of different cultures, and there's a big difference between Latin America and Spain and Portugal, and even Italy. And I think you've got many contacts through your Facebook with different people from here. I've watched them and your contacts with them. We've got a very interesting person here, which is in your Facebook also, called Amenofis. He's a pretty interesting bloke who has a big accident. He had his brain crashed, bashed in with a hammer, and he comes up with very interesting ideas and commentaries. I think you've looked into these pretty much, haven't you? We're missing Caroline on the background.
I'm sure she'll be back shortly. Hello,
Yeah,
Caroline,
she's
can you
just
hear us?
back.
There she is.
Yeah, they like to kick me out so I can go and get my cup of coffee, Rick. You don't have that privilege. nice way of kicking me out. Okay, I do not know what the last part you could hear me.
John was talking about somebody with their head bashed in with a hammer or something there. Could you repeat that, John? So I guess that
yes,
was for Caroline, right?
Yeah, there's a bloke in your Facebook called a Menophis. He's had his brain bashed in by a hammer, a heavy hammer, and he comes out with pretty bright ideas and different points of view on all this technology. I imagine you've had quite a bit of contact with him.
I don't know, darling, because I have I have so many people. If this gentleman asks him to put a message, then he comes on the top of my messages, then I can recognize who you're referring to. Because I have too many people, I cannot just single them out. When I see it, then I say yes. I recognize the picture because I have a visual memory. So what did you want to share else with us from him? Or does he want to come forward and talk?
No, he's not present. But another thing I wanted to comment is it's very interesting how we could cure these kids that have autism through the vaccines, the excess of mercury in the vaccines, and with the Gans water, we can revert it into gold Gans in their bodies, and that will straighten out their neurological problems.
Yes. That's why we say it doesn't matter how bad it looks. You have, through this knowledge, found the path to reverse. You start getting the keys to unlock each single problem. So whatever they have thrown on your plate, which you're not agree with, it doesn't matter in what field you are bothered, you're in pain, you are suffering, you are really devastated. You have given the key to your individual freedom to reverse it. We have brought a lot of keys on the table. If you apply them and not just talk about them, you will start that change of that energy field so fast. This is where the change is coming. And that's why we said yesterday, not sitting still. Get up, create the cancers, learn how to make the cancers, or try to buy them from somebody, or try to get them shared from somebody. I am 100% sure that the knowledge seekers, it doesn't matter where they are, and they have Ganses in their possession, they will be gladly, with no cost, share them if you can pay for, let's say, them to be posted to you. If it is for the purpose of changing the condition of the child or a person which is so dear to one another. That's what this knowledge is about. And maybe then by the time you have them, still go through the effort to understand the process to make them or create them by yourself. That you then can become a feeding station because you received the gift to pay it forward already for so many other children or people. Don't sit still, but become the creator yourself, because you already know the purpose of your destination, of your fields which you're creating to give. When humanity understands this process, and you're all golden knowledge seekers, you're all so beautiful souls, if you take the keys which are fitting to your door to unlock, you will unlock so many other doors, because when you start unlocking the first one, at the same time, you're unlocking 2 others. And it just multiplies. That's why you will achieve what you're set, what your intent is. This is where you're going to take, this is where it's going to take you. I hope you understood the last explanation, what I said about the Ganses. Make sure when you start the procedure, you start with the same Gans. So inform the person, if it is an autistic child, you need sufficient Gans, and they have to give you the Gans where you can tap off, not just only the plasma water, because it will finish because you can't top up. So make sure they're aware to give you from the mother Gans that you can keep on tapping off of it, that you don't run out and then have to change the batch again. You understand? Anybody else? Any news?
Excuse me, Caroline, can we get you to
Yes.
adjust your microphone again, please?
What's wrong with it, darling?
It's making its little clicking noise, similar to before.
Your eyeglasses are intervening.
Yes, possibly.
No, my glasses are on my nose, so it can only tick against my clothing. It's fine. I moved it away.
Clicking, maybe a button or something. I'm not sure. Anyway.
You should see me walking, Rick, with 2 ear pods in my ear, my phone very clear. I'm like a walking tank station.
We should be able to find an easier method, I think.
Yeah, I don't have the headsets with me. They are still in Italy. Otherwise, it would be much easier. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Anybody else? Any questions, please?
Hello.
Yes.
It's Pia from Denmark.
Yes.
I would just like to ask you if you could repeat which salts you are using for the health applications. Because I see here there's sea salt for the CH3. But it's also, you talked about the normal salt, or how can you specify?
We prefer for you to use the clean salt with no extra fields. The red salt you see is Himalayan salt. Now you have to go and see what is in Himalayan salt present. This is a vast amount of salts which you do not need when you go into processing for health. Use the normal salt for the normal procedure. Know for what you're going to use and want to use Himalayan salt. But I would prefer more to use Himalayan salt as a CO2 in a feeding station. Because then you don't need to find an apple and a pear and an onion and a garlic and a salad and a tomato and a, you see, the fields are present in the Himalayan salt. So if you use them as a feeding station, it's totally different as when you want to reset or reprocess or process a person which has a problem. Stick with the normal white sea salt for making your gases for processing. Himalayan salt and other salts are for a different application. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Then you say, the normal sea salt. It is sea salt, but you just call it normal sea salt.
Yes, the white.
Yeah,
the clean.
Yeah, the clean sea salt. Okay, I thought when you said normal sea salt, I thought you said a treated salt, but it's natural sea salt.
Is correct, huh, Dr. Klaus?
Not what we call sodium chloride, which is the table salt, which is just NaCl. You mean the sea salt, but the plain sea salt, not the pink type, right? Not
Yes.
the Himalayan.
Yes, Exactly. The white salt is the best one to do the procedure in the health.
Ah, thank you.
The colored, yeah, the rough salts with you know, in the natural state, like the Himalayan and the other salts which are coming from other parts of the country. You even have Persian salt from Iran. They all contain, from where they have not been cleaned, they have not been purified, they are in their natural state as they come from the ground. These, if you put them on your food station, they have a totally different impact or interaction with you than when you use them for processing. So don't use the color and the rough salts which are not purified for health, but use them in the food procedure. The white clean salt is the one we are using for the basic procedure of processing health.
Okay, thank you very much. That was clear.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Hi,
Caroline, can I ask you about what I know, or what are called tissue salts? There are homeopathic salts. They can come individually, or they can come in a combination 12.
Do not
What about
use do not use homeopathic with plasma. This was one of the first rules which Mr. Keshe said, because I was making Ganses from the homeopathic, and he said, no, Caroline, you cannot do. So avoid, use the homeopathic in its own state, but don't make Ganses out of it. It's the same procedure as the bucket which fell on the street when Dr. Klaus made the Gans from tobacco. It is not good. It's not the right way. It's not the correct path to follow. If you want to do, try, but don't go over the top, please. Try to sprinkle, let's say, start once the first cigarette with 1 drop of CO2 on your cigarette, on your tobacco. Then the few cigarettes later, put 2 drops of CO2 on your cigarette and just let it dry and just smoke the cigarette. And then see and feed back to the foundation how you experienced and what taste you get and how you feel. Because if you build it up, you will change, then you can walk out of the addiction of cigarettes. But be aware, it has to be a very slow process, because Mr. Keshe explained to me, you cannot stop smoking, Caroline, because you have been smoking, let's say, 30 years. Your body is conditioned to the way and how you smoke. You can reduce your smoking, but you cannot stop, because your body is fully conditioned to you are a smoker. But reduce the cigarettes, but do not quit. Because the doctors which are advising people to stop quitting overnight, they create chaos with those people. They go sick, and when they're elderly people, usually they don't even make it anymore. So please, when you're smokers, you can reduce your cigarette. You can try with a drop of CO2, if CO2, yeah, on your tobacco or on your cigarette. Be a guinea pig and see how far it takes you for you to reduce, depending on the amount of time you have, years you have been smokers, but do not quit fully smoking, please. It is like me driving in a car 100 kilometers an hour and then just put my brakes on. I'm going to fly through my window, aren't I? Or I'm going to cause somebody else flying into me. This is what's happening with your body. You crushes. Now, the same thing, maybe people haven't stood still, is the same topic counts for people which become vegetarian. Mr. Keshe sees a lot of, and he makes his time to explain it to the youngsters. Maybe as parents, you have seen your children switching from normal eating pattern to vegetarian because it is fashion, or they feel guilty, or the society has brought it on their plate and they would just want to follow or to exist, get the feedback because they change, they get more attention. Please, please, no way. Do not do that. But maybe if I explain to you, you might come to understand why not. Your body is in a normal processing of generations to eat whatever you are habitual eating, what is in your culture, what is present, what you're consuming. So your body is conditioned to it. Now, when one of your children decides from overnight to stop and become a vegetarian, Mr. Keshe explains it is like on a motorway and you just jump on your brakes because you run your body into this kind of chaos. Because it's so normal to receive its fields, to keep itself in balance, and now you're depriving your body to receive those fields. Now, this is not the only problem. The biggest headache is coming that they are in full development, especially girls. They go through their first menstruation years, they're becoming full developing for becoming a woman, and now their bodies are lacking because they are depriving them from the correct balance which they were used to. Now, they start losing their menstruation, they become very pale, they have a different color of skin, they're not so, they start losing hair, their nails start brickling off, they are very tired, they can't keep their concentration, and all the other parts which are going into a full-term chaos. And it doesn't show within the first weeks because they feel good. It shows in a later age all the disabilities with the switch is in 2-3 years coming to the surface. It is horrible when a child puts itself or an adult through this procedure of just overnight switching. You need 3 generations to become a full vegetarian. Just 1 second, please.
Hello, Caroline, are you still there?
Caroline's gone to answer the doorbell.
Yes, indeed. And to make sure you don't go deaf with Topoli. Because now, with me wearing my headsets, I know how bad this sounds for your ears. I do respect your ears from now on. My ears sometimes hurt when the bird even squeaks. Because now I can hear in stereo, so I receive the full energy of your voices. It's beautiful. So even you people as adults, don't walk in the trap or I'm just going to be fashionable and I don't touch. No, no. You can reduce your consumption of meat. But let's say if you're a day-to-day eater of meat, reduce it with 4 times, and then in a few weeks' times to 3 times, and then in a few weeks' times to 2 times, and keep it at 2 times a week minimum. Because you need to maintain the balance of your body from your generations before you, That's the shape and the composition you have today. So don't go crashing your bodies on a motorway because it's fashion. And on the other hand, what he uses with the youngsters is, you think you are doing yourself a favor that you're not killing an animal? He says no, because you haven't realized that each seed of a grain has a soul. So he says, I prefer to have a slice of ham on my plate or an entrecote, because this one animal I can share with, let's say, 100 other people, and it's one soul. If you put all the grains like you have a plate of rice in front of you, you start counting the grains and the souls you're going to consume. So he says, you're not slaughtering. You're not killing an animal. You're killing more animals in your plate of rice than actually killing one animal and sharing with so many other people. He says, I touch less souls with having a piece of meat than actually having a plate of rice. But on the other hand, you cannot just switch from one to another overnight. The same with smoking, the same with medication, the same with everything. You always have to find your balance to reduce it the correct way to come to a minimum what you desire to be. But don't quit because you don't understand. And a lot of children are making this mistake. They will not, their bone structure is deteriorating because they don't receive enough calcium. They don't receive enough conversion of the fields they need because of the change of their way they eat, what they use as a food. So maybe now, parents, you understand how to guide your children or yourselves or people which have become vegetarian very recently. There are consequences when you make such a huge impact in your life, not understanding what you're doing. Then there is another one with the same problem with girls, mostly girls are affected by it, is bulimia and anorexia. You can change these children so fast because the only thing they do, they still drink water. That's their lifeline. That is their only lifeline they have because they want to live, but they want the attention of, I'm not eating. It's a position that they're short of fields for whatever reason it started, but it isn't an attention-seeking position. So please, parents who know parents which suffer with the position of having a child like this, give them Gans water. Give them the adding in the same ratio of CO2, zinc, and CH3. Because they can add it, or they can even put the bottles in an area to put the 4 containers around like a feeding station, that they don't tamper with the water if the water is closed, that there's nothing in it, because they become very suspicious. You can change their condition. You process them with the gift of releasing the parents from this kind of burden, because it's horrible to have a child like this. But now you know how to do it. And it came to my mind to bring this forward today because Özlem in the Turkish group, she was posting something to me that they have problems in Turkey. And people which are rising up against the government because of the suppression or whatever condition, she said they have gone on a hunger strike. I said, Özlem, I said, please. I said, you have Ganses. I said, they still drink water. Send them the Gans waters. I said, they can do their hunger strike, but they won't deteriorate in their health. They will not go fatal, sick, or deteriorating. I said, you supply them with Gans waters because they still drink water. Oh my God, she says, I didn't think about this. So now they're on the move in the background to make sure that those hunger strikers are receiving the Gans waters to stay in an optimal balanced state that they can protest, but without damaging themselves. So if you know anyone with a hunger strike or in a position of hunger strike, they always drink water. They always accept water. Even if they don't drink the water that has gone to that stage, you can go and wash their bodies.
Yes,
with the
absolutely. I'm very sorry that I had to come in. Even if they won't be able to receive those Gans, but they'll be able to receive 100% the intention of the Gans, and they'll be benefiting of it. Now that was amazing.
Can I come in, if you don't mind?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, you see, in the conditions like this, you gotta go next step up. This is what we've been teaching recently. If you make mixtures of CH3, CO2, and zinc oxide, 50, 30, 20 usually is the best, is that you can run rotating cores without anybody knowing. You can leave boxes with cores running, and you feed them. In a way, they'll be puzzled, but nothing happens. But in so many ways, you can add zinc and you can add potassium and calcium to it. That in a way, these people who go for these kind of things have other ways of expressing whatever they have to express with their physicality. So you just need to run 3 or 4. You need minimum 3, maybe 4 reactors running in the background without anybody knowing that they get fed. You got to go to the next stage of understanding that you don't need to have the physicality. You can feed them totally remote. And even 20, 30 meters, 100 meters away, as long as you create a gradient of motion between your cores, you don't fill them up all the same. One has to have a factor of, let's say, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, and 1. And then you position them in a square or whatever, they continuously get fed, because as the cores are trying to link up, in that process they feed them. And so you don't really need even to bother with drinking water, because the water itself, in the position the body of the man will absorb it. This is how you receive energy in the space.
So now we can even supply the refugee camps with sufficient enough food.
This is one of the ways to do it. This is one of the ways that hopefully Keshe Foundation Italy, as part of the, we are part of the, what do you call it? The civil defense. We foresee that in the future we support. And even if you go a step further, if you make the Ganses of these and put a center core into it with a high rotation and take a center core out, 4 or 5 of them in dimension you can feed without even the liquid. Nobody knows that with this technology which we delivered, nobody should suffer from hunger. As we said when we had the girl, after a few weeks, she said, "Can I chew something? I want to chew, I'm not hungry." And she wanted a banana. So it's the habitual feed they don't really need, but they receive all the energies. But you have to always have in mind the gradient of the energy. Sorry to pop in. It's just that we got to go to the next steps of the development of the technology. So you don't really need to worry about these things.
Absolutely. Thinking about them, visualizing them, thinking about their understanding, not their suffering. Their understanding is dancing with them hand to hand. When you do that, you turn and shift your place, and you're in their prison, and you become them, and they become you. And no matter what the intention is, they receive it. If you want to feed them, you feed them. Simple as that, as it is being revealed. If you would like to give them courage, send.
You can do all that. There is no problem. That's no problem. Are you by any chance in Istanbul?
No, not this year. No, not this year. Not this summer, sir. No.
I'm in Istanbul on Saturday, whole day. If the Keshe Foundation people would like to meet, let us know. We can meet with you tomorrow.
They do meet. They met a couple of times, and well, they even poured CO2 to.
Yeah, but I'm in Istanbul tomorrow. If the Keshe Foundation would like to meet the people, we can meet in the same hotel as we met last time, or somewhere else if you want to allocate.
Well, I'll let them know. I'm in California, but this makes me thousands of times sad. I wish I was in Istanbul.
But if you from the Turkish community, because last time a few people gathered and some people couldn't find. If they find somewhere simple, tomorrow afternoon we can meet somewhere where we can meet. I'll be in Istanbul for a day.
I'm a bit of, to be honest, with all my intentions, as from I'm all the way from California. I'm trying to reach them all the time, but generosity of themselves in Istanbul is overwhelming for most of it, but minority is trying to do gain for themselves.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm there for if there is anything and we can meet. I'm in Istanbul for a day.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
Yeah, because now
I'll let them know.
We have operation there. We're just there for a day to meet some people.
I can't believe it. You're there. I'm not there.
I was there 3-4 weeks ago. Now we operate out of Turkey. We have operation in. I spend time to time in operation we have in Turkey for what we do. So if there is, I was there about a week ago, and I'm back tomorrow for a whole day. The Turkish followers would like to meet. We meet in Istanbul in the same place or somewhere else. There is no problem if they organize.
Speechless about to have a heart attack.
Why?
This is something. Why? Because something that I have never thought that would be possible in the first hand. Something that I have imagined that would happen at the same time, and something that would our arms, foundation's arms, would reach towards that understanding. Because I would consider I'm not my government, but I am my country. Within all this understanding, I feel irrelevant, as well as all imagining and trying to understand. It's all totality. It's empty. What I say. What you're doing is, sir, is the Everest of everything at the moment. No, I'm not exaggerating anything, but I wish I was in Istanbul. I'll let everyone know, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But in response to what we see, what you explained, this is one of the solutions we see for disaster zones, and this is the way which we start developing technologies in the coming time for feeding. It's the only way we can do than standing and feeding without cups and food. That's the old-fashioned way. The new way is, or the way we understand more, it's very much extension of the knowledge and using the extension of the knowledge. Otherwise, we are teaching nothing new. It's like yesterday when we had a press conference, the lady asked, what do you have for, something like, what do you have for a space technology? I said the Ghanaian way is the donkey way, and we bring in the Rolls Royce. It's their choice which way they want to choose. But that's the way it stands. So if you want to go around and feed with cups and water and that kind of thing, that's not a problem. But you have to realize there is another way to do it. There's an easier way to do it with a deeper understanding.
I have a question about that, Mr. Keshe. This is Gatwa.
Hi, Dr. Gatwa. How are you?
Good, thank you. So 30% CH3, 20% CO2, 50% zinc.
50% CH3.
50%?
Yeah, CH3.
Okay.
Sense as Z and 20%.
20% CO2?
Yeah. But with the hunger strike, you have to understand, you people in the hunger position, you need to provide collection of the environments which has to do with physical and emotion. So you need to add something like 5% of zinc, potassium and calcium into the mixture. Then you support the structural mental, because people in these conditions are heavily emotionally damaged or concerned. You have to make the internal connection between the social, what I call social emotional structure within the structure of the brain. So you need to do it the way it is done, that you support the emotion, but at the same time you support the physicality of the brain in respect to internal connections and the physical connection. Your CH3 is for the physical consumption, which creates a, what I call dimensional feed. The zinc and magnesium creates a connection between the physicality and the emotional part of the brain, and the zinc with potassium gives you internal connection, so you do not deplete. Because people, especially in a zone of disaster zones and lost everything, they get emotionally disturbed. If you can, in a way, bring forward, let's say they forget about it in 2 years' time, because there's emotional stability, you introduce that emotional stability from day one with supplying that, then they think logically. They work logically. They see usually acceptance of a disaster is 99% of the problem. Some people never accept it because the emotions, the shock of the emotion disconnects internal elements within the structure of the brain to do with the emotion, which is separated from the function of physicality. So you have to do it. So if you look at it in a simple way, if you do like 45% zinc CH3, and then 5% between the zinc and the magnesium, potassium and calcium, you support the whole dimensions of the emotion and the physicality. We do not use that much copper because some of the strength of the isotopes of the zinc covers the copper. Copper should only be used in the dimension of cleansing and decontamination, or when you are trying to develop muscle tissues. It's got to be localized. You cannot use it general because most of the part of the body, like the lung, does not carry copper based.
So if one had 4 rotating cores, what would be because the ones you explained are 3, what would be the 4th?
Can you repeat again, please?
If I were using 4 cores, 4 rotating cores, or 4 rotating balls, how would I structure that?
Treating burns is a totally different process. What we recommend for treating burn is the copper oxide. A very, very small amount, maybe 3 to 5%, with CH3 and zinc oxide. Because you should allow the growth of the muscle tissue, which is copper based.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
Hello, this question goes to Caroline. Good day, Dr. Keshe. Nice to meet you, and thank you for your teaching and your increasing our knowledge.
Thank you very much.
Caroline, you mentioned the homeopathic medicines. I've been using Schussler salts to create the different types of CO2 with the different kinds of body salts, the 12 different kinds of major body salts. Is that homeopathic use okay?
No. You have to understand what you're doing regarding. Can you explain that the people understand what is Schussler salt, please? A lot of our people don't know.
Schussler salts were brought up by Dr. Schussler, and they are basically the salts of the body put in different mixtures for different kinds of illnesses. When you're low on certain of these salts, they cause you to catch a flu or get stomach aches or so on. So they have them, and they replenish all the body salts, and they have them in tablets that you can take normally, that you put under the tongue, and when they dissolve, they taste sweet if you need that salt, and they stop tasting sweet when you don't need it anymore. And it's commonly sold here for people to get the salts that they need for their body in Germany. And I used them to go ahead and make my plasma Ganses, the medicinal plasma Ganses that I've been using for the 12 body salts.
You got to realize scientifically, we accept what he said, but you know, scientifically, some of these salts don't exist according to the present science. So when you create, when you use these salts, you have to understand, you create like a spectrum of CO2s. It's not just a CO2. You create a spectrum of zinc oxide. The process, that's why such a combinations, I prefer not to, because you don't know, depending on what copper, one zinc, one dilution you use, what is the alloys in the material. It is not anything which is mixture, I try to avoid. And this salt is too many mixtures, because it's not just the 12 salts they talk about. You have to understand is the ratio and interaction of the other 12 salts with each other. Because once you put it in the water, you have a mixture of every possible way it could be. And then some of these are not needed. Some of them we don't need, we don't have the use for it. Those salts are okay within the confine of the body of the man, But when you have brought in synthetic process like the copper plates and zinc plates, this changes the condition totally. Especially if you have no control, which most of the people don't have, is the amino acid which gathers on top of this salt, these CO2 systems. It's the body takes what it needs, but the composition, what I've always asked, and no homeopathic scientists have managed to answer me, is where do you get this salt from? Because 5 of them, as far as I can remember, are not known, are considered to be existing. Where does the doctor get this 5? This is something, a question which, unless the only way we know is presumed that the 12 exists is when you cremate the body. On the leftovers. We know that. So does it apply? Do they get it from the remains of the animals or is it from human? This is a question I would like to know. This is not trying to be negative. It's just
how are we making the 12 salts for the body? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, that's my question. This is a question I've had a lot. You know, I'm a very pro homeopathy because I understand it scientifically. I've written a paper about it. But what I have a lack of understanding, which I would like to be taught, is where do we get this salt from? The 5 which is not scientifically available.
Well, I have the mixture of salts here. Social salts is something I was recently introduced to myself. And I'm sure that there's someone like Dr. One of the Germans that are here would know much more about it. I'm learning more about them. Each one of the medical bottles that I ordered have actually the raw material in it. So they're raw salts.
Yeah, but where do we get these
ones they are?
Yeah, but I don't understand where do they get it from. This is my lack of understanding.
Yeah, and I looked and I couldn't find it. I looked and I couldn't find it on any of the paperwork, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, what it is, this is something which I would love to do it now that we have extended the knowledge and we have Raman spectroscopy machines and infrared machines coming soon into Accra. We can, it'll be interesting for us that we look into these things. In the time comes, you come back to us and we measure the salts which they say what it is and see what difference we see in their field strength, in their fingerprint. Somebody has to evaluate what is this 5, because I've spoken with scientists and nobody can tell us where they bring this 5 from. Is it just this 5 they say imaginary, or does it come from the animals? How do they separate these 5? If somebody can enlighten us, it'll be fantastic, because in a way, when we know we can defend better, we can use it better in our Gans systems.
That's exactly what my question was. I was searching for the exact same information.
I haven't found this for years. If you find it, let me know.
I will definitely. I wanted to go ahead. I've got some working in the basement at this point. I'm using the Sushler salts.
But what is working in the basement? What salt is it? Well, how did they?
Well, yeah, I'm doing the plasma. I'm using both CO2 in vials.
Yeah.
With copper.
My question is, what is that thing you think you're using as a salt? What's in it? Is it just a normal
Oh, I
salt?
can tell you if you'd like to wait a moment.
Five of them don't exist. I don't know how they make it. This is my question.
Yeah, I don't know how they make it either. That
So
was the
scientifically nobody knows. So we have to get these gurus of this technology to come and explain to us. Not only I'm open, I have explained scientifically how homeopathy works. It's a matter of field. But these 5 salts is a very big, they give it a name, but how do we know what's in that salt? That's my question. You see with the magrabs, with the ganses, we measure field strength. But I don't know how they find something which is not there, and then they can have it, and then how can we know what is this thing? Or is it one of these secrets nobody's supposed to know?
I got a news for you, Mehran, which I love to share. You know, you know Klaus, the tall one in Austria?
Yeah.
He came forward yesterday in the teaching, and he says that he has managed to find the measurement of the plasma fields. I said, please compose it, get in touch with Mr. Keshe. I said he will be more than delighted to see what you have achieved, because he's the one who brought the water teaching forward.
He's specialized in it. I think he's one of the few who can give us new insight. We are working
many months ago, Mr. Keshe said, if you put a drop of salt onto your tongue and not swallow it, and just keep it in your mouth, and that salt is not being consumed, is going to have an interaction with your contained salt within your body, and will release the salt from your body. The same thing applies to the sugar. If you do the same thing, it would do the same thing to your body. Now,
sugar too long, it makes you drunk.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said if you hold the sugar too long on your tongue, after a while you get drunk. We know people who go drunk for 2
You shouldn't have said that. Well, that's just why.
What I'll be interested, it's a thing we want to learn, and it's intriguing. How can we explain these 5 homeopathic? I mean, if the founder of homeopathy would have stuck to 7, we had no problem.
Yes.
It's just that we need to be enlightened for the rest of the knowledge which we don't have. Where is this 5?
I think you can find a solution with Klaus number 2. I think he will come up with the solution for that.
We come with the fields of the Gans. It's just that what are these 5 which is in there? I know.
He will bring the solution for that too, because most probably, as he has an extra gift, he can sense if the energy is present or not. So he knows. So if we present it to him, he will find a way to come back with a correct answer. We received some music from somebody.
I think that was from Mr. Keshe, actually. I muted it.
Yeah, I have a problem with my system. Every time I fall out, it triggers the favorite music.
Okay.
So you can switch it up. It's something wrong with the system. It's an apple you can eat, as I say. But it will be interesting. It'll be very interesting to understand this the other 5 salts of homeopathy. But how do they make it? What it is? Okay, we can measure it, but they got to tell us what we are measuring. How do they make it? Or is it secret we are not supposed to know, as I said? I have to go to a meeting. I do apologize. I just popped in. But we'll see what we can do. And thank you very much for your time.
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you a rapid question, please?
Yep.
Thank you very much. My name is Mehran from France. I'm a private student, and we learn and learn and learn. Could we know when you go to Tehran so we can get ready?
I am in Tehran 2nd and 3rd week of September. We've been asked by the Iranian authorities to not publicize it or ask people to come, but we'll be in Tehran 2nd week and the 3rd week of September for what we are there for, of course. And one of them could be most probably setting up the Iranian Keshe Foundation too while we are there. With the present regime, all the restriction which was put on Keshe Foundation during Ahmadinejad has been removed as far as we can understand. I'm trying to get Caroline for the first time to come to Tehran with me. And
so how can we get in touch then with the Keshe Foundation when I go there?
We hope so. At the moment, our plan is 2nd and 3rd week of September. We are saying invitation we have accepted. I'll be in Isfahan University for maybe a day or 2, and then back to Tehran.
Thank you very much. So we'll be in Iran also.
We'll see, hopefully.
My small family. We are 2.
Indeed.
Mehran, there is one thing you please can you answer this? There is a question in Q&A, and it's an important question for them to understand.
Yeah.
Can you see the Q&A question?
Which one?
Somehow I can't open it.
It says I have found the composition of 12 salts.
No, not that one. The other one about the loading of the reactors for the food.
Okay, let's see.
Do you mean the one from Adam who says, does Mr. Keshe mean the spinning reactors contain just one type of Gans in each sphere?
No, it's got to be a composition.
Yeah. That's the one.
Composition.
And yeah.
Anything we have a poison in the body, it's very hard to fight it. The only way you can do it is always add to it, because it's in the plasma field. You change it in its plasma strength, and then it opens up to a new element which is not harmful. Anything like mercury, aluminum poisoning, lead poisoning, you add CH3 in a very large quantity, which is a 80% level. This way, you saturate the body. You need to wash the body. Radioactive contamination is one of them. You increase because it's radioactive, it's giving, so you add to it and you convert it to non-radioactive material absorption. So this is part of the things you need to do. If you add like a zinc oxide or copper oxide, then you try to extract it. So radiation has to go through the body and it's dangerous. You add a CH3 to it that you feed it. In feeding it, you change the composition to non-radioactive isotopes. So in the case of nuclear accident, in case of mercury contamination, lead contamination, aluminum contamination, you don't, it's the old way, you have to fight to destroy it. All it is, you elevate it. It's like the soul of the man. You elevate it, it becomes a new entity and it's not harmful to the body anymore. And then it becomes a food to the system. So I've seen a question for mercury, and I think this is a fundamental knowledge behind the background. But you have to do 100%, 20% of CO2 and 80% of CH3 to convert it.
Can I give feedback?
Yes.
Good day, Mr. Cash. This is for Caroline. Uh, I did process one case with a 8-year-old boy. He have limb radial muscular dystrophy, and last Sunday I give the fathers all the what he need from the Ganses, and yesterday he processed this for the child, and today when I was sending this information about the boy who have autism, and then he said, sir, I have one person he want to say hello to you, and then this boy he said, thank you, uncle, because in Arabic we said uncle for the bigger one. He said, thank you, uncle. Today I moved my leg, and I swear this is the most lovely, beautiful thanks I have it. And in the same time, I send it to you all guys in the Keshe Foundation, and it's really touched my heart. And I asked the father, when did you apply it to him? He said, yesterday. And today in the morning, he just moved his leg. So this thanks goes to you, Mr. Cash, Caroline, all the doctors, all the supporters, and much obliged. Beautiful thanks for you.
Can you please explain to us what you did?
Okay, this is the process what the doctors issue for me. I don't have the recipe here, but this conclude CH3 liquid plasma, of course, CH3 and CO2 and zinc oxide and magnesium, also the hemoglobin plus the amino acid, and this is for breathing and washing and drinking and patches, and the patches is 1 to 2.
Let me tell you something. This doesn't work that way. If you have made such a structure and it's working, we're going to monitor it for a few weeks, if you don't mind.
Yes, of
And
course.
then keep the what I call the structure, the pattern, what you've done. Then we can share it internationally, worldwide.
Yes, of course.
I did this in Tehran about 8-9 years ago. I put the girl who was paralyzed from neck through a car accident. The next day, they took her back to Imam Khomeini Central Tehran Hospital, and the mother said they called about 40 specialists. They couldn't understand how the body being paralyzed for so long, everything is moving, all the legs and arms and everything is moving. But the problem is, one thing you have to consider before you touch these things, before you get involved, this is why we say the doctors have to handle it. And I teach this quite a lot with the doctors. You have to prepare the body. You do more damage. Nim hakim khatar jan. That's the Indian word. Doctors don't understand, can create a problem. You got to understand, these people haven't moved any muscle tissue for years. The damage cannot be done by the physicians. We advise the technology, the system, but muscles which haven't moved, the arms which hasn't moved for years, you try to move it, it just tears apart the tissue. So when you start using these kind of things, these methods, you have to consider preparing the body for the motion. It's absolutely vital.
Okay, and how we do that, sir?
It's usually through process of physiotherapy. You have to relax them, or you can cover the skin with 100% CO2, nothing else. 100% CO2, because it's not no emotion to it. It's just matter of changing, making everything ready. You need 100% CO2 wash, nothing else. Of course, the CO2 is just a plasma water. because then the emotion and the physicality fit themselves according to what they need. Excuse me, I have to go. I've got to attend the meeting. Hopefully,
Keshe, this is Stefania. Can you
we
hear
have
me?
to let Mr. Keshe go, Stefania. We've already
I just
kept
want
him
to
way
add,
late.
I just want to add about the physiotherapist. The Feldenkrais method, it's better because it works on the perception of the motor cortex.
Mr. Keshe is gone.
Okay, yeah, no problem. No problem.
Ow.
No problem. I'm just to
Stefania, please, before you come in, before you jump in, please give a signal to Rick that he can announce you to come in, because I nearly went deaf, darling.
Sorry, my phone. I'm so sorry. My phone, it's I cannot control the volume. You mean the volume? You mean because it's too high?
No, not only that. You just jump and really don't do this, please.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to.
You've got a very
excited,
excited voice, and it comes through kind of harsh, loud, because it's it's a surprise to us when it comes through.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I apologize for that.
And also, I'm trying to close the meeting here, so we have a little bit of a break for our producers before the next
No, I
show,
agree.
which is
I agree.
coming
Just a
on
small,
in half an hour here.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
just
already
wanted to
25 minutes over. It'd be nice to finish up here.
Agree. Okay, no problem. Have a nice lunch.
Thank you, Rick. And we'll meet again later on this afternoon. Please, Stefania, just don't jump in, please. Just tell Rick, send him a chat. He will announce you coming in, or he will invite you to come in, because your sound is too loud, and I can remove my headset because really it's hurting. I'm sorry, darling.
But we love to hear your voice. It's just we need a little bit of warning beforehand. That's all.
I'm so sorry. I will do that. No problem.
It's all okay. Thank you.
Before you close down, Rick, I asked Dr. Klaus if he hasn't noticed in his chat. There were other questions which will disappear with the closing of this session. Is that somebody has asked for the same template for fibromyalgia and for the loading of the reactors, what kind of gases to apply. So if Dr. Klaus can maybe in the post time can collect them, and then when we restart, bring them forward. Thank you very much. I do, and I have enjoyed this whole morning session. Thank you so much, but make sure Rick and Vince, you have enough coffee for this afternoon, darling.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Caroline, for all your input today. You held the show down there for quite some time. Thank you. And thanks to everybody for their questions and input as well. And of course to Mr. Keshe for, as always, for his contribution as well. Okay, so we'll end the session for now. This is the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity, Day 17, the morning session for Friday, July 28th, 2017. Thanks to everybody for attending, and we'll close the live stream. We'll be back again at 2:00 p.m. Central European Time. That's in about half an hour from now. Okay, we'll end the live stream.